Can you still taste that first sip of hot coffee poured by a smiling waitress as the neon outside blinked through midnight fog? For many of us, 24-hour diners in the 1950s were more than just a late-night pit stop. They were a brilliant slice of American life, open to anyone and everyone, any time of day or night. The hiss of the griddle, the pull of a red vinyl booth, and the gentle chime of the countertop jukebox created a world where worries seemed to melt away with every milkshake or slice of pie. These spots were havens for truckers, families returning from a drive-in, teens still dressed in dance shoes, and lonely hearts in search of friendly faces. Flipping through the menu beneath the soft glow of chrome-edged lights, you could soak in the comforting aroma of pancakes at 3 a.m. Do you remember the camaraderie of strangers chatting over bottomless cups, or the comfort of being known by name on slow Sunday mornings? Let's take a step back to those endless nights and cheerful mornings to uncover what made the 50s diner such a beloved American legend. Long before the 1950s, the roots of the American diner were already deep in the nation's soil, but the era after World War II gave them a glow and grandeur all their own. The concept of all-night dining traces back to the late 19th and early 20th centuries, when horse-drawn lunch wagons, sometimes called night owls, rolled through city streets to feed late-shift workers. By the 1920s, these wagons had become stationary, often housed in narrow, prefab steel and glass structures, making diner as much about the building as the menu. But the true golden age for the 24-hour diner arrived as America boomed in the post-war years. Picture late 1940s America, factories revving up, suburban streets stretching out, and the automobile becoming king. Highways unfurled like ribbons, and Americans, eager to embrace newfound freedom, hit the open road. They needed places to stop, rest, and refuel at any hour. Enter the 24-hour diner, a symbol of modernity and hospitality, wrapped in stainless steel and neon. Did you know the first diners were built to resemble railroad cars? Their compact, rectangular design wasn't just for show. It allowed them to be delivered by rail or truck and plopped down just about anywhere business was expected to boom. The post-war economic surge brought prosperity, but also a new restlessness. Shifts in industry and nightlife meant that the conventional closing time no longer fit the American schedule. Factory workers finishing crossover night shifts, cross-country truckers on tight schedules, and teenagers craving a midnight burger after a sock hop. They all found comfort behind those diner doors. The 24-hour model answered the call, inviting anyone at any day time into a buzzing, welcoming world. One of the most surprising facts about 1950s diners is just how affordable they were to open and run. Many were prefabricated in New Jersey, famously known as the diner capital of the world, then shipped out in pieces or as complete units. Some diner manufacturers, like the Silk City and Worcester Lunch Car Companies, built thousands that could be placed right alongside highways or at the edges of growing towns. Imagine the excitement when a new diner rolled in, its shiny surfaces gleaming, and the promise of coffee, eggs, and pie ready round the clock. The arrival of a 24-hour diner could turn a sleepy intersection into a bustling hub overnight. Diners quickly became vital landmarks in the suburban sprawl. Unlike formal restaurants, which often closed their doors by 10 or 11, these shiny beacons never truly slept. Their endless hours promised not only a meal, but also a constant haven. Can you recall a night when a diner's glowing sign felt like a lighthouse after a long drive or a night out? For many, the diner stood for safety and warmth during uncertain or lonely times, especially when the rest of the town had settled in for the night. It may surprise you that in the early days, running a 24-hour diner was no small feat. Owners often lived in tiny apartments above or behind the kitchen, making sure someone was always on hand to greet the graveyard shift regulars. To keep operations humming round the clock, family members often jumped in, working side by side in the kitchen or serving customers long after midnight. It built not just a business, but a community, one plate at a time. That sense of community is something historians now recognize as a key reason for the diner's popularity. In a rapidly changing world, diners offered a feeling of continuity. The smiling faces behind the counter became just as important as the food. Every regular had a usual, every waitress knew your coffee order, and there was always a place to sit, whether you were dressed for Sunday service or just finished with your night shift at the plant. Did you ever find yourself chatting with someone at the counter, only to discover you'd both frequented the same diner for years? But the story of diners in the 1950s is also a story of American optimism. The chrome and neon, the bright colors and gleaming surfaces all reflected a vision of the future. Even architectural styles of the era, the famous Googie look with sweeping angles and bold space-age shapes, spoke to a country reaching for the stars but craving a familiar place to land late at night. Diners became backdrops for first dates, last dances, and spontaneous meetings of minds. In a decade when the space race was on and television was making its way into every living room, the humble diner offered a steady stage for the dramas of everyday life. You might not believe this, but some of those compact diners could serve hundreds of people in a single day, despite their small footprint. Efficiency was the name of the game. The open kitchen design, which allowed customers to watch short-order cooks at work, wasn't just a bit of theatre. It was a way to reassure folks that their meals were fresh and to give the place its signature energy. Who can forget that rhythmic clatter of spatulas, the sizzle as an order of bacon hit the grill, or the sharp ring of a bell signaling "order up"? With highways weaving new patterns across the country, car culture and diners grew hand in hand. The drive-in and drive-through may have been making their debut, but the 24-hour diner was the ultimate equalizer. Cars parked in the lot might range from gleaming new Chevrolets to battered trucks loaded with goods from cross-state journeys. Inside, everyone was served the same welcoming smile and the same bottomless coffee. Do you recall a special car or a memorable drive that always seemed to end or begin at a favorite 24-hour spot? Of course, the diner's accessibility had a profound social effect. Many offered employment to returning veterans, immigrants, and women at a time when good work was still hard to come by. Some family-run diners became multi-generational enterprises with recipes passed down and regulars growing up alongside owners' own children. That continuity gave 1950s diners a sense of belonging that's been hard to replicate since. But that's not all. Diners were also quietly progressive in their way. While much of America still clung to old boundaries of race, class, and gender, the 6 stools at a diner counter formed a rare democratic space. It wasn't true everywhere or for everyone, but many diners became crucial meeting grounds for people from all walks of life, offering a side of social change with your scrambled eggs. How did your local diner reflect the changing face of America, or were there still divisions that kept some on one side of the counter? As the 1950s rolled on, the charm and convenience of the 24-hour diner became woven into the national identity. Whether nestled in small-town crossroads or perched at the borders of big cities, these glittering havens were more than simply eateries. They became memory makers and keepers of community lore, delivering dependable warmth long after other doors were locked for the night. So how did these beloved icons adapt as American life sped up, tastes changed, and technology came knocking on their neon-lit doors? Before jukeboxes started spinning new styles of music and menus swelled with fresh offerings, diners had to keep up with a rapidly shifting nation. The answer lies in the surprising technological and stylistic innovations that soon transformed not just how diners looked, but what they could offer at any hour of the day or night. As we take one last look back at the 24-hour diners of the 1950s, it's hard not to feel the gentle tug of nostalgia for a time when life seemed to pause, if only for a moment, within the walls of those chrome and glass sanctuaries. Over the course of this journey, we've remembered how these all-night oases first rose from simple lunch wagons, blossoming into neighborhood landmarks thanks to innovation, grit, and a deep understanding of what people truly needed: a warm meal, a friendly face, and a place to belong any hour of the day. We explored how the post-war boom and the spread of highways brought diners to the heart of towns and the edges of cities, welcoming factory hands at sunrise, traveling salesmen after midnight, and high school friends seeking adventure after curfew. The classic designs, efficient open kitchens, and the constant, reassuring clatter from behind the counter helped create a rhythm as comforting as any lullaby. Diners weren't just pit stops, they were the setting for life's small dramas and unexpected joys: first dates over root beer floats, chance encounters with neighbors, and the slow, quiet building of friendships that could only happen over late-night coffee poured by someone who already knew your story. Even deeper, these 24-hour haunts represented the very spirit of 1950s America, an era brimming with hope, fueled by ambition, and shaped by a growing sense of community and change. While so much about the world was in motion, the round-the-clock diner was a rare constant. It provided steady work to families and returning veterans, introduced new flavors to the melting pot, and broke down social barriers one booth at a time, even as challenges remained. If you close your eyes, can't you almost hear the jukebox crooning out familiar hits, see the slice of lemon meringue pie sliding across the counter, and feel the sense of possibility floating on the scent of brewing coffee? Those places were more than just stops on the way. They were destinations, places where you could chart your next steps, recount the adventures of your day, or simply sit silently, surrounded by the peaceful hum of others just like you. Reflecting on it all, 24-hour diners of the 50s remind us of the value in slowing down and savoring genuine connection, of finding comfort in the presence of strangers who somehow became family for a single meal at 2 in the morning. In a world that feels faster and more fragmented with every passing year, the memory of these diners offers a gentle reminder: community can be found wherever the doors are open, the lights are warm, and the welcome never ends. What was it about those endless nights, the laughter echoing off checkered floors, or the conversations that danced beneath neon lights, that truly made your favorite diner feel like home? Was it the food, the people, or simply the feeling that you belonged, even if just for a moment? Share your personal memories of 24-hour diners in the comments below. Maybe a favorite dish, a cherished late-night conversation, or a story only you could tell. We'd love to hear what made these special places so important in your life. If you enjoyed traveling down memory lane with us, please like this video and subscribe so you won't miss our upcoming adventures into the sights, sounds, and flavors of decades past. And if you know someone who'd appreciate this cozy trip back in time, share it with a friend. We're always happy to welcome new faces to our community of nostalgia lovers. After all, stories like these keep the coffee hot and the lights on in our shared American memory. No matter how the world changes, a piece of our hearts will always be waiting for us, right there in that familiar booth under the soft glow of neon where the night never truly ends.